These past couple of weeks, these past few months have been increasingly tumultuous, to say the least, violent, terrifying. And I recently got a call, I actually spoke recently with a CNN reporter who asked me how I felt about what was going on. As many of you know, I interviewed the chairman of the Proud Boys, Enrique Tarrio on Monday. And of course, that's led to a lot of angry leftists, I suppose. You know, I tried to do a good job. I wasn't trying to give him a softball. I asked him some tough questions and some direct criticism, called out some of the things he says. He got to answer for, his point of view and what he believes. And I try to do my best not to just, give someone a free pass. But I was actually talking with some reporters, notably a CNN reporter who just asked me, what do you think is going on and where do you think it'll lead to? Do you really think that there's going to be mass civil unrest, chaos in the streets, violence, escalation, or even civil war? And my response is, honestly, I just don't know. Well, I think there's this desperate attempt to try and smear me over civil war conversations when all I do is respond and give my opinion on stories that already exist. So the best I can say, in my opinion, and for my defense is, I always have the stories pulled up in front of me, as you can see right now on the screen. You can always see the NewsGuard citation in the top. That's on purpose because there's rare instances where I don't use certified sources, like Project Veritas, for instance, though I actually trust Veritas for the most part. I do this because I want you to know whether or not there's credibility behind the sources I use, and I want you to know that everything I'm saying is backed by whatever it is I'm reading. So if you're upset over a certain fact I point out, that's me commenting on something. And so there are these cringy left-wing channels that will try and drag me for talking about, say, civil war. Here's the story. A threat to democracy that could lead to civil war. Big tech is slammed by a former Facebook chief and star of a Netflix documentary, The Social Dilemma, who is calling for social media reform to end online tribalism. I agree with him. 100%. I think he's completely right. And I think he's the expert. Should there be criticism of me for simply pointing out that this guy is in a major documentary on Netflix where he's saying these things? Is that my fault for talking about it? Y'all, if you think there's a problem there, then I need you to go to Netflix and bring that up. I need you to talk to Spike Lee. Because I don't just randomly bring this up, shriek about civil war. To be fair, there's been a few instances where I've asked that question, but it's only because I was primed by some of these mainstream media articles. But that's the point I want to get to with this. There are some videos that have popped up recently where they're trying to drag me. Often they're over things that have nothing to do with, nothing relevant, nothing recent. But however, there are some left-wing personalities who have tried dragging me over segments from months ago, even a year ago. And these people don't actually watch my segments. They don't actually watch my show. They're given out of context clips by people and they use it to attack me. This isn't about me. The segment isn't about me and I'm not complaining about them. It's about online tribalism. You'll find that on my shows, I am not going to do a segment about left-wing personalities. Maybe I have in the past. I have definitely have some videos that were probably, lowbrow, and I probably, I'll never do something like that again. I probably shouldn't have at the time. But in the past few years, I've tried my hardest to avoid this kind of tribalist drama. Now, of course, I'm critical of Democrats. That's my genuine opinion. Of course, I'm critical of social media and media in general. Those are my opinions. But you're not going to see me call out individuals. There are a lot of people like to scream like Dave Rubin, blah, 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 I'm never going to make a video about those people. It's not going to happen. But it exemplifies what this man is saying. You see, these channels and the drama videos they make, their goal is to drum up tribalist rage. I recently tweeted a lot about it because I've been trying to book left-wing personalities to come on the IRL podcast, which is now going to be very, very guest-driven. We're just going to have conversations and hang out. And this is really just due to the fact that my workload is too great and there's a lot of other projects. There's a ton of other projects I'm working on. But I don't want to spend too much time. Wow, I can't believe I've been talking about that for 4 minutes. But the point is, I think some of the worst things that exist on YouTube right now are when you see these left-wing personalities or right-wing personalities attack other left-wing or right-wing personalities. I believe that if they're not in a position of some kind of authority in corporations or government, it's irrelevant for me to talk about. But there's a lot of people who drum up hate. This hate is fueling tribalist rage. It's fueling conflict in the streets. It's fueling people getting killed. Let me read you some of this from ex-Facebook chief Tim Kendall. They say, A former Facebook CEO has warned that big tech companies are a threat to democracy and could create a civil war unless they're reformed. The moment CEO Tim Kendall, who sounded the alarm about social media in the Netflix documentary The Social Dilemma, warned that companies encourage online tribalism, which exacerbates societal divisions. Kendall, who was formerly the director of monetization at Facebook from 2006 to 2010, called for big tech companies to be reined in by the government. Yes, adding that extreme outcomes were the only logical conclusion if no action is taken. Documentary The Social Dilemma features a series of top tech experts issuing stark warnings about the addictive qualities of social media, how it's designed to keep users coming back for more and manipulates emotions. Also, I want to stop right there and say I think we understand this, and I've talked about it before. But you know what? Let's get a little personal. I've done videos about, say, Carlos Maza in the past. Now, my videos about him were not, I don't target the individual because of his opinions. The reason why I highlighted someone like him, he's the guy from Vox who got Crowder temporarily restricted on YouTube, is because what he did caused an adpocalypse affecting the entire YouTube community. And it was major news, what was going on with him and the issues that he was bringing up. I think I'm trying to do better and be probably less crude in my criticisms of certain individuals, but I'm not perfect. So by all means, criticize me if I don't do a good enough job. Recently, there is a prominent Black Lives Matter activist that everyone seems to hate now, who referred to me as a white supremacist and a neo-Nazi. And this is the escalation and the extreme nature of what we're seeing. Obviously, none of those things are true because I routinely rag on white supremacists and neo-Nazis. And I come from a mixed race family. So you see, all these people are like, Tim Pool talks about civil war. Tim Pool says he's mixed race, all these things, blah, blah, blah. Well, yeah, there are reasons for it. It's what they try and do. It's the smears they try and bring up, and it's preempting them. In response to this prominent activist's Twitter post, even his own followers started dragging him, saying like, geez, dude, like Tim Pool's a moron, but come on, like neo-Nazi? Wow. The reason I highlight this, again, look, I can only really use my experience on this one because I don't go hunting down the criticisms of the likes of Dave Rubin or whatever. But it shows you how there's escalation in the rhetoric. And perhaps this Kendall guy could be wrong in that this activist who smeared me went so far and so over the top, he jumped the shark to where even his own followers are kind of like, I don't know, Tim Pool's not the neo-Nazi dude. That's kind of crazy. And you could have legitimate criticisms. But so far what we see is that in a desperate attempt to rile up people's bases, they lie, they cheat, they steal, they play dirty games. And I think it is going to result in tribalist conflict. I made a tweet about booking leftist guests on my show because they always ignore or decline. These are not YouTubers that I'm inviting. We want to invite academics, journalists. They won't do it. They always say no. I can't do it. I'll get canceled. People come after me. And in response to my post about this, you get these grifters. And I mean it. I hate using the word, but they're grifters who pop up and say, I'll come on your show. And then I say, okay, let's do it because we really want to have you come on and talk your opinion. And we had the guy from Black Guns Matter, and a lot of people didn't like what he had to say, but it's all about hearing the perspectives of individuals, whether they're right or wrong. That's what an interview is for. And what they do is they'll publicly say, I'll go on your show and debate you. I don't do debates. And then as soon as I privately message them and say, let me know when, we'll schedule everything, they go, oh, I'm not actually coming on your show. The whole point was to get internet points from a fervent and angry base on social media so they can gain more followers and they can create tribalist sensationalism, conflict, and rage. Then they accuse me of doing the same. So you know what? I'll tell you this. I think social media has been a mass detriment to society. There's a lot of benefits, and Facebook is right about this one, that you get to hear from me, and without a censor, without a boss. So there's positives here. The problem is the tribalism that is growing from everything. Now, of course, the Trump supporters like me because I said I'm going to vote for Trump. I think it's the right choice. The Occupy Wall Street people liked me when I defended the Occupy Wall Street protests, and I got criticism from the right. And now that I'm out here saying the Democrats are insane, the left is mad at me. I will stick to my principles and tell you what I think is right or wrong regardless. I have said over and over again, it's only a matter of time before the right gets mad at me again, and times will change. I'm not going to just defend Republicans for the sake of Republicans. I don't like Republicans. I like them less than the old school Democrats. Of course, Democrats of today are insane, in my opinion. So, of course, the tribalist right likes me. And I think it's fair to point out, too, a lot of like really staunch Trump supporters don't. And the left tries to claim that's true. It's not. I think a lot of the people who are watching, like those of you who are watching, are probably more moderate. The biggest faction, when I did a poll, was actually libertarian, general libertarian, followed by center right and Trump supporters, followed by center left and liberal. And then I actually had a few people in this poll who said they said that they were like progressive and social justice warrior. And that was like a small percentage. They do watch. They're the ones who probably give me the thumbs down or just watch in general. I've actually gotten text messages from progressives who are fans. No joke. Progressives, because I think there's a disdain for Democrats across the board. And just because we don't agree on the outcome doesn't mean we can't share in our criticisms. And so I think if you look at someone like Jimmy Dore, he's very critical of the Democrats in the exact same way. I think he's fantastic. And we disagree on policy solutions. But I think Jimmy's an extremely good dude. I think he's rad. I think he's smart. And I think he's got different ideas than me. That's the way things should be. Instead, what we end up getting is Twitter, especially tribalist conflict, which results in people showing up for a rally for the police. And then the opposing tribe shows up and then someone dies. I think social media is driving this. I think the desire from many of these personalities to grift is driving this. Internet blood sports is stupid, in my opinion. There are some legitimate debates that happen that I think are pretty good. There are some lefties who do some good debates. I appreciate that. And there are a lot of leftists who have reached out to me who are, I think, lowbrow. And I'll be completely honest, because they just make rage videos where they're like, isn't Tim Pool so dumb? I'll have him on. I'll have him on the show because we need to have these conversations. But it's tough because the more academic, journalistic, and industry professional leftists will absolutely not have these conversations at all. And maybe it's because they're lying. I don't know. I can't tell you. Anyway, I don't know. This is kind of a ranty segment, but I'll just put it this way. I saw this story and I wanted to highlight that Tim Kendall is correct. What's happening is that people are being rewarded by being nasty to each other. Twitter is designed, whether intentionally or not, to make you hate. That's terrible. I hate it. I think Twitter is trash. Something needs to be done. And when we saw the censorship of Donald Trump and now this the censorship of the Hunter Biden story, Facebook censored. Check out my main channel segment over at youtube.com/Timcast. I'm worried. I'm really worried. I think Tim Kendall is right. We need heavy reforms. I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up tomorrow at 10 a.m. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you all then.